want to ask Ryan, Kirk, to come on up and say just a couple of words. Ryan? You guys are way too nice to Ryan. Don't strangle me. You are. I don't ever do that.
I am Ryan. I'm Roger and Marianne's son. I want to say a few words on behalf of our family. For those of you who don't know, Roger was diagnosed with ALS in May of 2013. He fought the disease head-on for 18 months, raising awareness all along the way. But he wouldn't want me to go any further without expressing the proper thanks that made this day possible. Firstly, I want to start by thanking Greg and Connie Gross. They've generously donated their name to this event again and have helped raise awareness and support for a great cause. Those of us closely connected to ALS truly appreciate your doing so. Thank you, guys. And thanks to all the others with ties to the Philadelphia Phillies, including Tom McCarthy and former and current players here today. We know there are a large amount of charities that your organization works with, so appreciate the time you've dedicated to helping this one. We would also like to thank the ALS Association from the bottom of our hearts. In past speeches, my dad has said that our family has embraced the need to help ALS patients. And we couldn't have done it without the help of Jim Pinchotti, Ellen Phillips, and the entire staff of the Greater Philadelphia chapter. Carrie Durkin this year and Julie McKeever last year have been on the receiving end of constant emails, phone calls, and suggestions. Both good and bad, I can assure you. Thank you guys for all your hard work and selflessness in organizing this great event. We'd also like to thank the staff at Old York Road Country Club. As members, we know it is a great course and club. And once again, Jim Carnahan, Dave McKenzie, and their teams have put on a tremendous event for this year's outing. They do some of the finest work in the area for events like this, and it is shown again today. So thank you, guys. And we especially want to thank you, all the golfers, sponsors, attendees, and volunteers. You have made this day special. This day is nothing without your participation. Gratitude does not begin to describe our feelings for you taking a day to make ALS an important cause. So thank you, everyone in this room. The saying goes that if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan. Our dad must have mentioned his plan more than a few times during all those masses he attended over the years. But God's version of Roger's plan still yields some positive outcomes because it's led us here, raising money in his name to fight an elusive disease. I want everyone to use your imagination for a second. Imagine the real-world experience that our father and all those living with ALS go through on a daily basis. Imagine his struggle, which started with slurred speech and muscle twitches. Imagine his confusion and anxiety. Imagine his lost motor skills, which begin with things as routine as having trouble buttoning a shirt. Imagine his feelings when his world was abruptly confined to a wheelchair. Now imagine that doesn't have to happen for anyone ever again. Imagine we found a cure for this horrible disease. That is why we're here today, and that is why Roger fought. I tell you this not so you can feel sorry for Roger and our family. I tell you this because those daily sufferings will continue to happen until we find an end to this disease. Just because we lost Roger this past February, don't let that dissuade you from continuing to help and continuing those ever-appreciated donations. If you knew our dad or have known anyone struggling with ALS, take whatever feelings that you had when you saw Roger in these last couple years, the feelings you had when you saw him struggling with those simple activities, the feelings you had when you realized that he lost his voice and he had to deliver those perpetually sarcastic comments via his iPad. The feelings you had when you saw him in his chair and he needed assistance just to stand up. Take those feelings and know there is someone just like you out there feeling the same exact way for a loved one of their own. We can rid the world of these feelings. This outing should serve as a celebration of his life and all those lost to ALS, and a reason to come together to raise funds and awareness to find a cure. I find myself thinking a lot about my dad. thinking about how he would respond in certain situations, thinking about how he would handle things, thinking about how happy he would be to welcome a new grandchild into the mix. Seeing what he went through, I find myself thinking about what life is all about, and I always come back to three things. Life is about friends and the relationships you make. For those of you that knew our dad, Roger had a lot of friends. He valued those friendships enormously. He seemed to know the fulfillment we can get from making people feel special and continuing to build relationships over time. This went as far as him running into somebody he knew while traveling as far away as Hawaii or at an airport in Florida. We would all playfully roll our eyes, knowing that Dad bumped into another friend or colleague. Friendships seemed to follow him everywhere, and he loved those connections. Friends help make life worth living, and Dad knew that. Secondly, life is about family. He was fanatical about his family, both immediate and extended. We still don't know why. We've given him many reasons over the years to rethink that decision. Lou Holtz has delivered a great speech a great line in a recent speech, talking about the balance between family life and work life. He said, "You can't take your money to heaven, but you sure can take your family with you." Family was special to our dad, and I think we can all find a little more joy in the time we get to spend with our own families. Lastly, life is about legacy. Our time on this earth is finite. I want to continue to ask all of you to help us keep his legacy alive. We will never forget our dad, and his life already stood for something. But putting his name on this golf outing and being the reason that a lot of us are here today, his legacy will continue. This may sound forward, and I've said this to Jim Pinchotti of the ALS Association over the last couple of years, but our family would want nothing more than to have all employees at the ALS Association seeking new employment because a cure was found for ALS. I believe that day will come, and I believe it will only be as a result of all your generosity and help. Thank you again from the entire Kirk family, and if necessary, we hope to see you at next year's outing. Thank you, guys.